Chapter 4. Billy slept. She could hear voices in her dream, a distant overlay of ghostly sound wound among the shimmering and frightful images. Dreaming again, what did you give her? A door loomed in front of Billy, partially open. Behind the door, blackness. Eyes gleamed in the dark there, and light flashed briefly on rows of serrated teeth. 30 of trinamine. The undulating door swung wide, creaking loudly. A kind of presence oozed through. Billy couldn't see it clearly. 30, that's twice the usual dosage. Aren't you worried about brain damage? The presence coalesced, forming a quavery image. Black, tall, toothed. The monster. It grinned at Billy, gnashed those teeth, moved towards her. Billy was frozen, couldn't even turn away as it came for her. She opened her mouth to scream. Well, that's a risk, isn't it? She's already halfway insane, and none of the conventional therapies work. Besides, medical-grade androids have taken up to 40 milligrams without significant damage. The monster reached for her, opened its mouth. Slowly, a toothed rod extruded itself from that hellish mouth, came towards her. Slow. Oh, so slow. But she couldn't move. She's not an android, though. Might as well be. A hand touched Billy's shoulder. Billy awoke, her heart thudding rapidly. She was sweating hard. It was Sasha. Oh, Sash, what are you doing here? You have a visitor. Doc sent me to tell you. A visitor? I don't know anybody on Earth except the medics and the inmates here. Sasha shrugged. Well, Doc says somebody's in V4 for you. You want me to go along? No, I can handle it. The truth was, she didn't feel particularly adept at the moment. The drugs coursed through her system, and the latest nightmare still vibrated in her memory. But if she was ever going to get out of this place, she had to look as if she were in control. Billy found her way down the hall, was admitted into the visitor area. The door to V4 scanned her and admitted her into the private room. Inside was a monitor, inset into the right wall, and a single form chair facing a fully polarized wall that shined like a black mirror. Billy sat. Who could it be? The monitor came to life. On screen was a computerized image of a kindly white-haired grandmother. Her chipped voice when she spoke was also kindly, but full of quiet authority. Billy also knew the voice was full of subsonics and sublims designed to calm and soothe a listener, as well as engender obedience. You are being monitored, Grandma said, and any discussion of hospital therapy will result in termination of this visitation. Grandma smiled, forming lines at the corners of her eyes. Visitation is a privilege and not a right. You are allowed 10 minutes. Is this understood? Yeah, right. Very good. Enjoy your visit. Grandma smiled again and faded from the screen. A small red dot pulsed in her place, reminding Billy that the conversation was being recorded and observed. The polarized wall faded from black to clear. A man, one side of his face scarred, sat in the chair 2 meters away from her. He wore a military uniform. Who? Hello, Billy. It was as if somebody suddenly slammed a fist into the side of her head. The jolt rocked her physically. Billy jerked and stared as a memory they tried to take away from her swam to the surface like a whale needing air. It was him, the man who'd always saved her in her dreams. Wilks? Yeah. How they treating you in here? You're real? Last time I looked, yeah. Oh God, Wilks! I wasn't sure you'd remember me. You look different. He touched the scars on his face. Colonial Marine surgeons. Bunch of butchers. What are you doing here? They told me you were in this place. I figured I had to see you. Once I found out you were having the dreams too. About the monsters? Yeah, I don't sleep that well myself. Haven't since Rim. It was real, wasn't it? Oh yeah, it was real. They had me. I'm in as long as they keep reactivating my secrecy clause, but you were a civilian. They decided to wipe you, but it didn't work, at least not all the way. Billy slumped, but at the same time felt a sense of relief like none she'd ever known. It was real. She wasn't crazy. The dreams were memories, trying to get out. Wilks stared at the kid. Well, she wasn't really a kid anymore, was she? Turned out to be a nice-looking woman, even in the hospital whites and obviously stoned on whatever they'd given her. He wasn't sure why he'd come, except that maybe she was the only other person who would understand the dreams he kept having. He tried to track her down a long time ago, along with the other Marine and the civilians who'd escaped from the second bug nest, but they'd all been carefully hidden away. Probably in some medical center, like this one, or on some outpost a dozen light years from anywhere. Or maybe they were dead. Why did you come? She asked. He pulled his thoughts back to the young woman on the other side of the thick, clear plastic wall. They found what they think is the homeworld for those things, he said. They're sending me there with some troops. A few seconds went past. To destroy it. Wilks smiled, but it was a sour expression. To collect a specimen. I think MI wants to use the things as some kind of weapon. No, you can't let them. Kid, I can't stop them. I'm a corporal, and a drunk and chemhead brawler, he added mentally. Get me out of here, she said. Huh? I'm not crazy. The memories are real. You can tell them. They're trying to convince me everything I remember is an illusion, but you know the truth. Tell them. You saved me before, Wilks. Do it again. They're killing me in here with the drugs, the therapy. I have to get out. The monitor screen next to her flowered, and a white-haired old lady appeared there, smiling. Discussion of therapy is not allowed, she said. This visit is terminated. Please leave the visiting area immediately. Wilks, please! Wilks found himself standing, his fists clenched. Please leave the visiting area immediately, the old lady said. Billy stood and leapt at the clear wall. She slammed her fists into the hard plastic. Let me go! The door behind her opened, and two large men entered. They grabbed Billy. The young woman struggled, but it was no use. The wall began to polarize and darken. Hey, fuckheads! Let her go! Wilks yelled. He lunged at the wall, slammed into it. He backed off, threw his shoulder into the wall again. The wall was unmoved. The monitor on his side of the darkening plastic came to life, the same old woman. This visit has been terminated. Please exit now. Thank you for coming. Have a nice day. Wilks, help me! Billy screamed. Then the sound faded and the wall went totally dark, and she was gone. Wilks leaned away from the wall. He stared at his hands. Sorry, kid, he whispered. I'm sorry.